The first rays of dawn, like golden paintbrushes, stroked the top of Nungong Forest. Mist, thick as cream, still clung to the ferns and the tall, whispering grasses. A hush lay over everything, a quiet only broken by the gentle chirping of early birds. But this serenity hid a fear that had been growing in the hearts of the forest creatures for many moons. They called it the shadow of the snarl, and it was the rumbling, hungry presence of other animals that wanted to make Ingong Forest their own. In a small clearing, under the wide branches of an ancient acacia tree, a young lion named Charlie stirred. He wasn't like the other lions, those who bask in the sun and hunted with booming roars. Charlie preferred the quiet. He liked to watch the monkeys swing through the trees, the colorful birds flit amongst the blossoms, and the gentle deer graze in the meadows. He found a kind of magic in the way the light filtered through the leaves, in the rustle of the wind through the tall grasses, and the symphony of the wild. His mother, Bella, a lioness with eyes like polished amber, worried about him. "Charlie," she'd often sigh, her voice low and warm, "you must learn to be a king of the pride. You must be fierce. You must roar." But Charlie couldn't. His roars were small, more like coughs, and his heart wasn't filled with the hunger to dominate. He would nod respectfully to his mother, then wander back to his quiet spots in the forest, a place where he felt more alive and joyful. One sweltering afternoon, as Charlie watched a family of warthogs digging for roots, a terrible noise ripped through the tranquility. Howls, growls, and the cracking of branches shook the very ground. Charlie, startled, saw a pack of wild dogs, larger and more ferocious than any he had seen before, pouring into the clearing. Their eyes were wild. Their teeth were bared. It was the shadow of the snarl, come to claim New Gong Forest. Panic broke out amongst the creatures. The monkeys scattered, chattering in terror. The deer bolted, their hooves thundering across the forest floor. The warthogs squealed and fled back to their burrows. They knew that the wild dogs would not be kind. Charlie watched, frozen. He had never seen such fury and chaos. He wanted to run, hide, and bury himself under the thickest bush, but a strange feeling tugged at him. It was not the urge to pounce, nor the desire to fight, but something more profound, an aching need to protect the gentle world he held so dear. He found himself moving, a slow, deliberate walk toward the heart of the commotion. As he walked, he saw the wild dogs corner a family of zebras by the watering hole. A young zebra foal, separated from its mother, trembled with fear. Charlie felt a surge of protectiveness well up inside him. He didn't roar. He didn't attack. Instead, he did something unexpected. He sat down. Right in front of the wild dogs, he sat down, his tail curling gently around his paws. He looked at the wildest-looking dog, the one with the jagged scar across its nose, not with aggression but with unwavering calmness. His gaze was steady and filled with an unusual strength. The wild dogs, confused, paused. They had expected to be challenged, to fight, but this was new. They snarled and snapped, but Charlie didn't flinch. He just sat there, a beacon of stillness amidst the flurry of movement. They circled him for what felt like eternity, but he refused to move and kept that steady gaze. Then, something extraordinary happened. The dog with the scarred nose lowered his head. He stopped snarling. The other dogs followed suit, their ferocity waning. It was as if Charlie's calm had spread through them, like a cool wave washing over the heat of their anger. The pack, bewildered, gradually retreated, their tails tucked between their legs. They had come to conquer, but they had met something they couldn't understand, a gentle power. The other animals, who had been hiding in fear, emerged, blinking in the sunlight. They had seen the lion's courage, but it was unlike any courage they had ever witnessed. It hadn't been the courage of a hunter, but the courage of a protector. He had stood as a shield between them and the danger, not with teeth and claws, but with his peaceful presence. From that day on, everything changed in Gong Forest. Charlie didn't become a roaring king. He became a quiet guardian and protector. He didn't go seeking fights. Rather, he would be there when they happened. The other lions began to learn that true strength did not lie in brutality, but in the ability to maintain peace. Charlie would not hunt unless it was truly necessary and would always be aware of the other animals in the forest. He learned to communicate with all the creatures in the forest. They would all inform him if the wild dogs were in the nearby plains, and Charlie would go and wait for them to be ready. He understood that as a lion he had power, but he chose to use it for the sake of his home. Bella watched her son with pride. She realized that there are other forms of strength in this world, and that Charlie was a different kind of leader. He would only fight when he needed to protect his creatures. The animals started to live in harmony. They learned from Charlie. The monkeys would swing closer to the ground to allow the small rodents who couldn't go higher to play with them. The warthogs would make way for the zebras at the watering holes because they knew they could dig for water anywhere they wanted. The deer would graze next to the lions, knowing Charlie would not harm them. The shadow of the snarl still occasionally threatened the forest, but now the animals weren't as fearful. They knew Charlie was there, and this would give them the strength to go through the day. Charlie's quiet strength had created a shield around Ngong Forest, a shield made not of force but of understanding and peace. Even the wild dogs, though they never became friends, started to understand. They still crossed into the forest sometimes, but they were less aggressive. They had felt something powerful in Charlie's calmness, a power they couldn't fight with their snarls and teeth. And so, Charlie the lion, who could have been a fierce king, became an epic protector, a living legend of Ngong Forest. It was not his mighty roar that kept his kingdom safe, but his gentle strength and the ability to be silent in the face of chaos. His story was sung in the songs of the birds, whispered through the rustling leaves, and remembered in the heart of every creature who called Ngong Forest home, a reminder that true power often resides not in might, but in peace. And that is the story of Charlie, the lion who became the protector of the forest. He taught them that when we protect others, we protect ourselves. He understood that life is never black and white. There can be gray, and you can always find a solution to make your world a better place.